Hello everyone. As you can see, I got parts all over the workbench. Clamps too. I've been working on this thing and we're going to talk about my midway steps. First off, tires are glued together. Now I know there's, let's zoom so you can see what I'm about to comment on. Now I know there are tires with split tread like this in existence. They have grooves down the center. Okay, I don't know if I want to do that with this. I've got something in mind. I'm going to try it in about an hour or two. I'm going to go paint first. I'm going to try it in about an hour or two and see what I can do. But all four of the tires are like this. So I'm going to sand that detail off and I'm going to try to rescribe that detail. You'll see what I'm doing in a few minutes. Okay? This part has some pretty bad seams on it, but those seams get covered up with different pieces. So I don't have to have them perfect. What I want to do with them is just get them where when I put the parts on, it's good. This part's about to go get some paint, however. I don't want to leave it black. I don't want a black engine block. I don't remember ever seeing a car with a black engine block. Speaking of engine blocks, here's the engine block. It gets covered over almost completely with parts, except for on the rear. This is the rear of the engine block. So I need to do some work and clean this up and fix it. You can see I've started working on it some. Okay, the heads shouldn't have a seam line down the center of the seam line. So I got to get rid of that seam line on the heads. And I'm doing the same thing on the front. Even though there are parts that cover up this entire front, I just don't think the heads should have a seam line on them like that. I've played with plenty of engines in my life and I know they don't. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to see what else I need to do to the back of this engine to make it look right, because it don't look right to me. Can't put too much on there because the trailer, once it's attached, is going to be sitting about that close. So you're not going to really see much of it anyhow. Just want to take the trailer off. I don't want it to be too, I don't want it looking horrible. The air intake, this needs the most work out of everything. Okay? Most air intakes have butterfly valve on the front. I'm debating on whether I want to put the butterfly valve on the front of this or not. It's got some pretty bad seams on it. Those seams have got to be removed before I paint this. So I'm going to start working on removing seams on it. That's about as far as I did. I worked on removing the parting lines from the header pipes. Okay? And the upright pipes. The exhaust stacks. I pulled one of them off and took it with me. My local hobby shop is closed on Sundays and I didn't know. But this one's off the sprue, so you can see where my complaints are with it. I'm not using them. Okay? Can you see those pin marks? Sorry. Can you see those pin marks? Let's take a look just a little bit closer. Those are some pretty bad pin marks. This is the outward face of this exhaust pipe. You know, I can't have those pin marks there. Not to mention, no exhaust pipe looks like that. It doesn't have a 90-degree bend. They have a gradual bend and the end is flared. Okay? So I got to work on that some. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it. They were closed today, so I couldn't get a brass rod to replace this with. I want to replace these with brass rod. Because it's supposed to be a pipe, and not brass rod, sorry. Brass tubing. And brass tubing is a pipe. So if I can replace this with brass tubing, it'll be great. Have some ideas for how to put a bend in this. And we'll see if I tackle that or not, or just cut it at an angle. I see a lot of exhaust pipes that are cut at an angle. Something like, let's get that focus back in here. Instead of that rounded over end, you see an angle cut on them like that. So I may just do that. I see a lot of exhaust pipes like that. So this is where she sits right now. I'm about to get back at it and start getting things primed and painted, because I really can't go much further on this one without some paint on her. And a few parts are ready for paint, a few aren't. So I'm going to get the parts ready for paint that need to be ready. Oh yeah, the bottom chassis, these two, we're going to flat black them. We're not going to leave them this natural black color. So I got to cut them off and take them free from the sprue. And they just need a little black paint. They don't need much of anything else. So I'm not too worried about those. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do my sub-assembly work on them first though. And one last part, this thing. This is a front wheel axle and it's got some really bad seams and some alignment issues. And and I'm trying to decide what I want to do with that. So we're going to take the seams out. I did the squeeze it together method, so the seams should just sand right out, and I just need to get a little more uniform. That was an email. My phone meows when I get email. So guys, I will be back. Let me get cracking on her. See you in the next update, probably when I'm painting. Hello everyone, quick update before I go hit paint. On the Zinger, engine block, not good. The top of the engine block does not align with the bottom of the engine block very well. Happy thought here though is that you're never going to see it, because you glue these big pipes on this thing like this, and all the bad parts get hidden by all the other parts, so you really won't see it. So it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, you're not going to see it because these pipes will hide it. Alright, another part, the front axle doesn't go on very well at all. It goes on very poorly. So be very careful when you glue that on there. Be very, very careful. Rear axle just slips right on there real nicely. Okay. I found a few assorted scratches here and there on this, so got hit with 1200 grit sandpaper. Same thing with the cab. Another really bad part, and I suspected it would be, is this big air intake. The seams along the side of it are horrible. I'm about to sand them. Once I'm done sanding that, if I think it's good enough, it gets primered. So I got a big pile of parts that are ready for primer right now. And she's going to get some primer in a few minutes. Another thing, these pipes, they don't align very well, so be very careful when you're gluing them together. And then clamp them and test fit them against the engine block to make sure that they are going to glue on there and align properly. Okay? Because without that test fitting and gluing, they will not work. This model was designed in the 70s, and it's got all the 70s design flaws. They didn't really do computer-aided design back then. Not like fine molds and all them. And speaking of design, I don't know what they were thinking when they made these exhaust pipes. Made my own out of brass. Not quite the same shape, but I see a lot of trucks with exhaust pipes like that, and the brass ones fit on there just perfectly. So that's good to go. In fact, I'm about to assemble the exhaust pipe so I can take them off to painting. I'm just going to cut the end of this off as a rod up that pipe. Okay? And glue this on there like it was designed. Yeah, you would think it was designed to glue on there. No, you are wrong, because that hole is not deep enough for that nub. Go figure. Well, anyhow, I'm going to get off here. Deslox is getting some paint tonight, so it's out here to get some masking on it. You can see I got the command bridge. It's orange stripe painted on. So we're up to fixing the watermarks and doing a little bit more. I got to get rid of the orange overspray that happened there, and I need to touch up some of the blue color a little bit in places like right there. Once that's done, the rest is hand painting for the most part. I want to do this black stripe while I black paint these, so that is done. And then I got some pink hand painting and a few other things to do, and she is done and ready for her contest date, which is some happiness. Okay, so I'm going to get off here and get going. Let's talk to you in a bit. You find some lucky things sometimes. I was trying to glue that pipe together. It's chromed, and to me a cement won't glue chrome to plastic. The chrome acts as a barrier between the cement and the plastic and doesn't let it work. And I used Mr. Surfacer here to fill some of the seams on the air scoop, air intake. Okay? And I have lacquer thinner out because lacquer thinner cleans that up really well. Right there. And I was like, okay, I don't want to scrape this chrome off. It's going to take forever. I don't want to get the super clean out. It's too far away. So I took a piece of paper towel, and I knew lacquer thinner would dissolve plastic. So I put just a little bit on this paper towel and started rubbing it like this. In under 5 or 10 seconds, it took the chrome right off. I wouldn't bathe your parts in that because that will eat your parts. But you want to remove chrome from a glue joint, put that on a Q-tip and just dab your chrome right on the Q-tip and it's going to come right off there. Lucky discovery. I'm happy I found that. Passing it on. Really surprised that that worked. I really don't care about the finish of this pipe because this is what she looks like now. That's what she's going to look like in a few minutes. I'm going to put that over the top and press it down on there. So this is just being glued on. I'm waiting for that glue to cure. It takes about 20-30 minutes. And then this is getting super glued over the top. So I'm going to have an exhaust pipe that looks like that. And that's going to look a lot better here. Let's zoom in so you may see the beauty of the pipe. That's what it's going to look like with my custom made pipe. It was going to look pretty horrible beforehand because that's the old stack. That don't even look like an exhaust pipe. Looks like a bend in a piece of sprue that someone painted chrome. No good. No bueno. So there you go. This is what she's going to look like now. And I think that's a major, major improvement on it. So let me get back to work. I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'm about to start taping up deslocks here. We got to make a whole segment on that just for deslocks, I know. But be back in a bit before I start waffling. Hello, loyal viewers. Exhaust pipes. They are done. I think that's a major improvement over the kit pipes. I mean, kit pipes just don't look good to me at all. And that looks more like an exhaust pipe for a hot rod. I have a little bit of work to do yet. I got to fix the seams around there because I want to chrome these. And I have to do a little rough sanding. Super glue is almost dry on this one. It's not on that one. I use the long curing super glue so I can position things the way I want. And super glue is pretty dried up now. So up next I'm going to do a little bit of sanding, and then my good old buddy Mr. Surfacer 500 comes into play for a little bit to smooth out the joint where the pipe hits the where the brass hits the plastic. I want that to look good. I don't want to look like that was just stuck on there, so it's got to look like it was seamed up a little bit. So there you go. Just wanted to show you what the exhaust pipes look like. I'm getting very close to putting paint on this thing. I should have paint on it before I go to bed tonight. Just primer coat on a lot of it. Maybe not these exhaust pipes, but a lot of the body pieces. They're ready. And I want the engine pieces painted tonight so I can put that engine together tomorrow. Well, I won't get the engine together tomorrow. These exhaust pipes are going to hold me up. And so is this thing. This thing's just being a bear. You know? Just the worst part in the kit is this guy. Good thing I worked so many stinker kits in the last couple of years. I hit one like this, I'm like, it's normal. I just truck right on through it. I've almost got this thing shaped the way I want it. Really close. Pipes are done. Body's about ready for primer coat. Haven't touched the tires yet tonight. And I'm going to have to quit in another 35-40 minutes. Deslocks has got to get paint tonight. So I'm done with this right now. I'll be back in a little bit. I saw it and I just had to get it. What do you think?
Cool.
Cool?
Yeah.
I just leave you with this one last view of the Mohawk.